Hello everyone, my name is Ankit Jain and I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. In today's video, we will be building another mini project on the LWC. In this mini project, basically we will be creating a website using the digital experience where we will be putting our Lightning Web component with the help of which you folks can go and search for the meal and explore the recipe as well. Without further discussion, let me first show you how our final output will look like, and then we will see what all the different prerequisites that needs to be met to build this product. Also, we will be seeing how you can go and build this complete product from start to end as well. I hope you folks found this product helpful and you will get the learnings from this project as well, like the previous project. In case you folks didn't explore, there are many projects available on my channel, so do check out the playlist as well, which is available in the video description, so that you guys will have a real-time experience how to build the projects using the LWC. So let's get started. For example, this is how our final output will look like, where the user will come, search for the meal. Let's say here I am searching for the meal as soup. Click on the search recipe and I will get the list of recipes which is available here. For to get the list of recipes, basically we will be making an API call from the Lightning Web component, and whatever the output that we will be getting, we are putting it on the UI. Again, the user can come here and search for that recipe and explore that recipe from here as well. So this is the small component that we will be building in this mini project, with the help of which you guys can explore how the components communicate with each other. Moreover, we will also be discussing here is how to make an API calls from the LWC, what all the different prerequisites that needs to be taken care. In addition to that, I try to make sure that the website that I will be creating here, it's a mobile responsive. In the past, many of you reached out to me and asked me how we can create the mobile responsive component. So you guys can see that based on the size of the based on the size, basically it is adjusting its width as well. So if you want to access this particular link on the mobile, so this is how it should come up. So we are also learning how we can create the mobile responsive components using the Lightning Web component as well. In the case of mobile, my search item will be coming up in the one line and the button is coming up on the second line. But if you start expanding, it will go and automatically adjust, and similarly it will adjust this part as well. So that part also we will be learning in this project as well. So these are the multiple things, folks, that we will be exploring in this project. I'm pretty much excited to get started. So let me run you through the deck and we can see what all the different prerequisites that needs to be taken care to meet this requirement. Again, in case you folks have not connected with me, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you will be notified on any updates that I am putting on my channel. Moreover, you can also connect with me on the LinkedIn as well. You can also join the Telegram channel too to discuss all the queries that we do encounter in our Salesforce journey. So as I already discussed, these are the different learnings that we will have from this project. We will exploring how to do the communication between the components, how to make an API call, how to effectively use the SLDS, because I try to use maximum SLDS rather than writing down the custom CSS. Definitely there is a custom CSS as well, but I try to use the maximum use of SLDS, how to create the mobile responsive components, and also how you can expose your LWC component on the digital experience, because what you are seeing right now is the website which is available that can be accessible from anywhere, even from the incognito mode without logging into the Salesforce. You guys can access it from the mobile and all those stuff. So that part also we will be learning in this project as well. So demo we have already discussed. Now, what all the different prerequisites before you get started? As I said, to build this particular product, basically we will be making an API call to the third party service, and the third party service where we will be making an API call is the MealDB. So what we have to do here is basically we have to go and configure the remote site setting, trusted URL, and the course in our setup. So to do that, let me first explore you what is the API that we will be using. So the API that we are using here is the MealDB API. If you go to this, there are few free recipes API which is available, and that's what we will be using to build this component. So for example, if I take you to this link and putting it here, this is a kind of a JSON that we will be getting, and we will be transferring this kind of a JSON into our final product as well. So without further delay, we can get started with the prerequisite now. So I am inside the org, first configuring the remote site setting. To do that, you have to navigate to the setup and look for the remote site setting here. So if you come here, click on new remote site setting. Let me go and add that remote site setting. Sorry, navigating here. Let's say I am giving the remote site setting name as MealDB, putting that link. I will put all those links directly in the video description so that you folks can refer it from there and clicking on save. Like this, we have to go and configure few additional stuff like the trusted URL and the course. We have to do that because we will be making an API calls from the LWC. Again, to do that, here I go and look for the trusted URLs, clicking on new trusted URLs. Again, I am giving here the name as MailDB, pasting it as well. And in case you guys are having the slash in the end, make sure that you guys are removing it. After that, enabling all these different flags, although it is not mandatory, but let's go and do that and click on save. The third thing that we have to do here is we have to also configure the course as well. For that, again, navigate to the setup, look for the course and add the course here. So click on new and put the course here with the same endpoint without by removing the slash from the end and clicking on save. So we are done with the three prerequisites here by configuring the remote site setting, trusted URL as well as the course. Now the next thing that we will do here is we have to also go and configure the static resource. What is the static resource that we will be configuring here? If you see here in my output, I do have this background image, right? So this background image I want to refer directly from the static resource. So that's why I will be uploading that static resource as well. Again, to upload the static resource, here I go and look for the static resource, clicking on new. You guys can give any name. Let's say I am giving here the name of the static resource as MailDB only and choosing the file to upload it. It will be on my desktop. Yeah, so I'm selecting this mail file, clicking on open and clicking on save. So we are done with the prerequisites basically, where we have put all those different things which are required to get started to building this particular product. Okay, now we can get started by building this product. So how we can get started here? So we will be building one complete component which will have the both the header part as well as the detail part, and after that we will be building the separate components for the header as well as the detail. Okay, after that we will do the communication in between the components as well so that all these components can communicate with each other. We will also expose this component as a tab, and also we will expose this component to the community as well. So without further delay, we can get started by building the different components. So let's say my first component name that I will be creating here. So here I'll be putting the create lightning web component, and the first component name that I am creating here is the mail hunter. Okay, so this is my parent component. In that parent component, I will be having the two further components. The first one that I will be building now here is the let me go and take the option of Control Shift P one more time. Another component that I will be building here is the mail search, with the help of which I will be performing the search. And another component here I will be building here is the load mail results. Okay, so I have created the three components. This is my parent component, and these are the two child components. One is to display the header, and another one is to display the footer. So let me navigate to my parent component here. In my parent component, I am putting both the components. The first one here that I do have here is the mail uh, hyphen search component, and another component that I have built here is the load mail results component. So I am putting that component as well. C hyphen load mail results. These are the two components that we have built, right? And as I said, we have to go and expose this component in the form of tab. So let me, and also to the community as well. So I'm putting is exposed as true, defining the targets here, putting the target here as the lightning tab, and also adding one more target, that is the community page as well. So this is how our structure of the complete page will look like. Definitely there is few additional code that we have to write it down. But first thing, we can get started here by building this kind of a header component. So in my header component, basically what all different things that I do have this background image. After that, I do have this another section where I am putting the another header with my name, right? After that, inside this, I do have the two components here. One is the input component and another one is the button. Okay. Again, we have to make sure that this header section is also the mobile responsive as well. So whenever we say that my output should be mobile responsive, we have to always take the help of the SLDS grid to build our component as well. So if I navigate here, open the SLDS grid, and in that section, you guys will see that we do have a separate section to build the responsive component. So if I scroll down here, you can see we do have a separate section here to build the responsive layout. I am taking that option here. And if I scroll down, this is what something I also want, where maximum section should be taken by the input and the minimum section should be taken by the button. So I can get this as my starting point and started building my code. But before that, before I go and paste it, let me go here to my search result HTML file. So I need the output, the outer section as my hero image. So accordingly, I will go and create the different divisions, right? Out inside this, I need another section for this content. Inside this, I need the input, and then I will need the responsive grid. So let's go and start building it accordingly. So here I go and first put the div class is equal to, you can give any class name. Here I am giving the class name, for example, as the hero section. Inside this, I want another div, that is the class is equal to hero content. Inside this, I want another class for the heading. So let's say h1 class is equal to hero heading. And let's say I'm giving the heading name here as the tech journey with Ankit. Inside this, now I do want my SLDS grid should come up. So let me come here and copy the code for that SLDS grid. Again, if you also want the tablet responsive, you guys can also take this code as well. Okay, it's completely up to you how you want to define it. Let's make it tablet responsive also, so we can go and have the the below section of the code. Okay, so I'm copying this particular code and pasting it here. Okay, so let me go here, do a quick formatting. Right, so this is how basically it will look like. I believe I do have one additional div if I'm not wrong. No, so that's fine. It's correct only. Only the alignment was the problem. Okay, now it's good. It looks good to me. Now the next thing that we will do here is we will go and make the changes according to our requirement. The very first thing that I do want here is this complete section. It should come up inside the center. Again, if you want the grid should be coming up inside the center, then we do have another SLDS class for that. Simply go and put the option, look for the centered, and here you will see the content centered option here. So the SLDS class that we have to apply to make sure that everything is coming up in the center is the SLDS grid align center. Okay, so that is the first thing. Now the next thing that we will go and put up here is the lightning input. So let me go and do that. So here I will be putting the lightning input. uh, Again, what all different things that I do want. Let's say I want to put here the label. Let me go and correct the spell. Lightning input, I want here the label. uh, let's say my label here is enter your search item. After that, I am putting a placeholder, enter meal for search. Whatever the item that user is entering, I have to go and access that values at the back end. So I'll be defining the on change handler here. Let me go and put my change handler. Let's say I also want to hide the label here. So I am putting here the variant is equal to label hidden. Variant is equal to the label hidden. These are the different things that I am putting here so that it can be easily accessible via the inputs can be easily accessible from the backend. If you want to go and define the type as search, although it's not mandatory, but you guys can put it. It will not harm. I believe my input part looks good. Right now, the second thing that I have to do here is I have to go here and take the button as well. So button, let me go and define it here. I'm putting here the lightning button, putting a label here as the search recipe variant. I am putting here as a destructive so that I will get a red color button. And on the click of it, I'm taking the help of the click handler. Right, so this is how my button will also look like. On the click of which I can go and search for the output. Now let's go and write down the JavaScript related to this. So here I go and sorry, I am on the mail search itself, navigating to this file, opening it, putting a change handler event. Again, whatever the output that we are getting, let me go and store that output into one of the variable, that is the search mail variable, and in this variable we'll go and store it. So this is dot search mail is equal to event dot target dot value. Now the next thing that we have to do here is when the user clicked on the search button, I have to go and search for the recipe. But I don't want to do the search here. I want to send the search result back to my parent component. So what I will do here is whenever from the child, if you have to send the details back to the parent component, we always take the help of the custom event. So what we will do, as soon as user come here and clicked on this button, we will go and send the details to the parent component. So inside the search mail component only, I am creating another method, right, with the name of event, and let me go and fire the custom event here. So here I'm putting let my custom event is equal to new of custom event, giving the name here as the search mail, right? And what I will be sending here under my detail section is the mail that user have searched for. Detail is equal to this dot search mail. Okay, so this is what I have. This is how I have created my custom event. Now the next thing here is I should go and send the event. So do always remember that whenever we say that we have to send the custom event, it's always a two-step process. First, you have to go and create the custom event. As a part of second step, you have to go and dispatch the custom event. I have explained in very detailed how the custom event works in the bootcamp. So make sure that in case you guys are not familiar how the events works, do check out that bootcamp as well. So this job has been done where I have passed the values to my custom event as well. Now another additional thing that we have to do here is we have to go and write down some additional CSS in our component. These are the CSS classes that we have already put it here. Now let's go and build the logical part inside this CSS. Again, this your CSS or my CSS can be different, right? It's completely fine. So here I go and put it down here. You guys can also take the help of any generative AI tools to write down the CSS for you. Do not have to be very expertise on writing down the CSS. Here I am putting the hero section. That is my first class. Another one here is the hero content. That is my another class. And the third one that I am putting up here is the hero heading. That is my third class here. So these are the three CSS classes that we have to go and build now, one after the other. Okay, the very first thing that we have to do here is we need to load this static resource into our component, right? We have already uploaded the static resource, but now we have to go and load the static resource in our component. Again, if you are not sure how to load the static resource, as I always say, take the help of the documentation, static resources in Salesforce. I have already covered in very detail how you can use the static resource directly inside our LWC component. I have covered it in the bootcamp. Also, I have covered this in the many projects as well. It is as simple as if you have to first go and upload the static resource. That part we have already done. After that, the next thing you have to go and import the static resource from here, something like this. Okay, so what we will be doing in our component, that is the mill search component. Again, I am navigating to the JavaScript file, pasting that same thing here. What is the resource name that we have given? If I come here, the resource name that we have given here is the MealDB. So I am taking this name and putting it here. You guys, if you want, you can also give the my resource name as the same name or the different name, that does not matter. So the very first thing that I have done, I have imported the MealDB here. Now the next thing that I can do here is I can navigate to my CSS file directly, and here I can go and use that resource. Again, to do that, I am specifying here the background image URL. Again, whenever you are using the resource, you have to simply put the resource slash mail. Whatever the name that you have given to your static resource, you guys can directly go and put that name here. As simple as is to refer the static resource into your JavaScript file. Okay, there are a few more things. Let's say that I want to add here. That is the background size. I want to put it here as a cover. So next thing here is I want to add the background position. It should be in the center. Next thing here is I want to add the background repeat. I don't want to repeat it, so let me go and take the option of no repeat here. Minimum height, because we are making it responsive, so I'm also defining the minimum height should go to the 400 pixel. Should not go less than that. I want it should be coming up into the center, so I'm putting here the display as flex, and whatever the content that we do have, that should come into the center. uh, Item should be aligned to the center as well. There should be a padding from all the sides, so padding also I am putting here as the 20 pixel. And for better visibility of the content over the image, let me also go and define here the color as white. Okay, so these are the different things that I am putting for the section. So I do, the expectation here is I should get something like this. Okay, now the next thing, I have to go and define this particular section as well. For that, I have already defined the CSS class, that is the hero content. And in this CSS class, let's go and write it down. So first, let's go and add the background here. It should be RGBA. Let me put down here. I'm directly putting that background color because I have already researched about it. That is, it should be 0.0.0.0.5 so that I should get an output something like this, right? Padding, let me put the padding here as the 20 pixel. Border, I want it should be curved. So let border radius means it should be curved from all these sides, right? If you want to add this kind of a curve, go and add the border radius. Mm, Width, make it 100%. Max width, let's say I'm putting here as a 600 pixel. uh, Whatever the text that we'll be putting inside it, it should be aligned to the center, and the color should be black. Okay, so this is how we are making sure that we are having the appropriate CSS here. Next thing, again, we don't need the header heading icon. I'm not sure how this came up, but let me go and add the another one here. That is the heading class as well. Inside the heading class, oh, you guys can see we have this Tech Journey with Ankit written here. Let me go and increase the font size for this to 36 pixel first. Next thing here is I'll be increasing the font weight here to bold. In addition to that, I am adding some margin from the bottom. That is the 20 pixel. And in the last, I am putting here the color as white. Okay. As I said, your CSS or my CSS can be different as well. That's completely fine. Okay. Now, this is how my component is looking like, where I do get the different inputs and I'm also firing the event as well. Now, the only thing that is left is whatever the event that we are firing from here, from our component, we have to also go and handle that event in the parent component. But that part will come to the parent component. Let's first go and deploy this component to check whether it is coming up as expected or not. Yeah, it is deployed successfully. Now let's go and handle this inside the parent component. So my parent component name here is the meal handler, and the event that I am firing here is the search meal. Make sure that your event name will always be in the lowercase to get it work successfully. Navigating to the HTML file, and here I am putting the on search meal. So as soon as the search result came up, I want to perform the meal search. So here I am putting the meal search handler. Okay, sorry, it should be on the search mail, not on the mail result. My bad. Let me go and remove it from here and putting it here. So this is the method where I can go and look for that mail. Again, navigating to the JavaScript file, opening that file, putting the event around it. Now the very first thing that I have to go and first read the input that user have done there. Okay, again, the inputs are available in the detail variable, right? So I have to go and access the value from that detail variable here. Let me navigate to the JavaScript file. Let me put up here that the search mail, what is the name of that event dot detail. So I do have that search mail available here. Let me also print this into the console so that in case of troubleshooting, it will be a bit easy for us whether this value is coming up or not. Now, the next thing we have to do here is we have to make an API call to the MealDB to fetch that details. So this is the URL that we have to hit basically to get the complete details, right? How we can do that? Again, to do that, the next thing that we have to do here is we have to go here and hit this API using the fetch method. So LWC or the JavaScript basically do provide the fetch method with the help of which you guys can hit the APIs directly. So we'll also be doing the same. So we will be hitting this URL. Again, fetch API, it's always an asynchronous method. It always returns a promise. So you have to make sure that your method is asynchronous here. And here I'll be putting the await fetch, right? And this is the URL basically that we have to hit. Again, in the URL, we have to populate something dynamically using the string literal. So don't put the direct quotes here. You have to use the string literal. String literals are just below your escape button on your keyboard. And this is how the string literals will look like. In between the string literal, put this URL. Okay, now this is something that we have to go and populate dynamically here. So whatever you have to populate dynamically, you have to remove that, put a dollar symbol, and inside between the curly bracket, you have to go and search for the item that you are looking for. something like this, right? Again, let me go and store this output that I am getting into one of the variable, let's say response. Now we have to convert that response into the form of JSON. And again, this is also an asynchronous process. So what I'll be doing here is I'll be putting await response.json. So whatever the output that I will be getting here, I will be storing that output into another variable. Let's say I'm storing that output into the data variable. Now the next thing that I will be doing here is, now let me go and simply log the data as well for our troubleshooting purpose, whether we are actually getting this data or not. Right? So I do have the data available here. Now the next thing that I have to do here is, if you guys can see the kind of an output that I do have here, right? It's an object, and inside an object I do have an array. Okay, let me also go and paste it here to show you quickly what kind of output that we are getting. Right, you guys can see this is an object, and inside the object basically we do have an array. What I am interested here is in this array. So my array name is meals. So what I'll be doing here is, rather than I go and access the data, let me go here, access the data dot mail. So make sure that you guys are using the exact same name with the exact same case, because JavaScript is a case sensitive language, so that we do have an access to all the output that we are getting from here. Okay, now let me go and deploy this part as well, where my job has done to go and print this output. So again, before I go and deploy this, I believe I have not deployed the another child of the mail hunter, that is the load mail result. So let me go and open this first. I have not done any changes in this, but for the time being, simply go and deploy the empty component here. And also now I will be deploying my mail hunter component as well. So this is also deployed. Now the next thing that we will do here is, before we take any next step, let's go and check whether we are actually getting the results or not. So for that, I will be exposing my component as a tab. Again, to do that, I am navigating to my org. Here I am looking for the tabs to create the tab for the Lightning Web component. So here you can see I do have the Lightning component tab option. Clicking on new, selecting my Lightning component. Let me give here the name as a mail hunt. Selecting the tab style, you can select anything, that does not matter, and then click on next. Again, I'm making the visibility off for everyone and keeping it on only for the system administrators, and clicking on save. Right, so we have created this tab as well. Now if I navigate here and try to look for that is the mail hunt, let me go and open this and see how my output is coming up, and whether on the search we are getting the expected result or not. So this is how my output is coming up. I do have this background image. I do have this coming up in the center nicely, right? I can go here and enter the meal as well. Let me come here and click on the inspect, so that whatever the output that we are looking for, whether it is coming up in the console or not, we can easily check. So here I go and search for the soup one more time and click on the search recipe. You guys can see that we are getting the successful result here, right? We are getting this 16 records here. So our search is successful, our API call is successful here, and we are getting the expected output. Now the next thing that we have to do here is, we have to go and pass this search result to our another component, that is the load mail result component, in which we go and load all these results. Okay, so again, how to pass that value from parent to child? By using the API decorator. So what we will do, whatever the output that we are getting, I am storing that output into the one of the variable. Let me put up here as the search result as the variable name, in which I am storing all this output. So here I go and put the search result is equal to data.mails. Now in my load result, I have to go and pass that data. So for that, I have to make sure that my load result will have the API property exposed. So here I'll be putting the @API and defining the property name here as the search, or let me put up here as the mail result. Okay, and as this is an API decorator that I am using, let me also go and put the API as an import part as well. Okay, it's already imported. Let me go here and take it out because I can see it's already there. In case not, you guys can definitely go and add it. Now, this is the result this is the property in which we have to pass the data. So how to pass the data? So here you have to use the mill because this is not defined in the lower case. So while passing the data, you guys have to make sure that you guys are using the kebab case here. So here I'll be putting the mill result is equal to whatever the search result that we have from the mill hunter. I am passing that here as an right. So this is how we go and use the parent to child communication to pass the data from the parent to the child. Let me go and again first deploy the load mill result component here, and then we will go and deploy the mail hunter component as well. Again, this is what we have done, folks, as a part of our part one, where we have made a search to the uh, third party API. We got a response, right? And we are also sending the response to the another component as well. Now in the next section, we will see how we can build the detail section, something like this, right? Where we can put the output, and also on the clicking of the recipe button, we will be displaying that recipe as well. So this is what we will be discussing in the next part. I hope you folks found this part helpful. Do let me know in the comment section as well. Thank you. Have a good time.